Chapter 1481. Would you dare to go to the high school reunion? Alright, I'll go out. I'll go out, okay. Liu Baikan conceded. He did not come to quarrel. He also did not want to quarrel with Gu Jingze now. However, he would not leave that easily. Gu Jingze watched him leave. She stood there in doubt, holding her mobile phone. What did this guy want now? Did he come all the way here to torture her? Was there a need to? However, not long later, Gu Jingze was standing on the balcony, taking in breaths of fresh air when she saw a man on a balcony opposite where she was, and he was smiling wildly at her. Damn it, Liu Baikan. Gu Jingze exploded. Why are you here? Liu Baikan waved his hand and looked at her in a long dress. She looked in sync with the sea breeze and the bohemian wind, elongating her figure. And it made her look even slimmer. A very beautiful sight. He could not deny that his wife was very pleasing to the eyes. It was no wonder that so many men coveted her. He blew a whistle. Why, I rented this place. Isn't this a hotel? I can stay if I want to. Now, I'm staying here legally. Can't I do so? Gu Jingze shouted, you can't. I saw that it was a couple who were staying there. Oh, I know. Then, why are you? I gave them $1 million to let me have their room. Fine. This was something that Liu Baikan was capable of. Gu Jingze looked at him. What exactly are you trying to do? Didn't I say it already? I regret it. But there's no remedy for regrets in this world, Gu Jingze said coldly. If there was, I'd taken it long ago. Would you have a chance? Liu Baikan's face changed. He looked at her and said, Jingyan, we still have Apple. At this moment, he remembered their daughter, Apple. Gu Jingyan said, when you were helping another woman, have you ever thought about your daughter knowing about this and how she would think of you? Liu Baikan felt that he had gone overboard. He did not think about this in the past. Apple was growing up, she would stand on her mother's side and hate this incompetent father. I was wrong. Liu Baikan lowered his voice. He was in the wrong for this matter. Gu Jingyan paused. She must have her stars aligned to hear Liu Baikan say that he was wrong. Was she dreaming? Pity. It was too late. He said it too late. She did not want to hear any more. Okay, you're wrong, but I'm not prepared to forgive you. Humph. Gu Jingyan immediately closed the doors and windows and returned in. In the evening, at the pool, a group of people was in a daze, looking at Gu Jingyan in her swimsuit. They laid by the poolside and did nothing except to stare at Gu Jingyan. When Liu Baikan arrived, he saw Gu Jingyan sitting there basking in the sun. She was very fair, but also got tanned easily. She did not look bad with tanned skin, but she was the type to regain her fair skin rather quickly after some rest. So she suntanned without care, and everyone looked brazenly. Liu Baikan saw a foreign guy in swimming trunks peacocking his way over. Hey, shall I help you put on some sunblock? The sun's vicious today. The foreign guy was very direct. Gu Jingyan wanted to reject, but seeing that Liu Baikan had arrived, she decided not to. Sure, thanks. The foreign guy was not bad looking and had a model-esque physique. Otherwise, he would not have had such courage to go over directly as well. Just when Liu Baikan wanted to go over, he saw the foreign guy holding onto the sunblock and reaching out to Gu Jingyan with his hands. He was so enraged that he felt his liver was in pain. Hey, where are you from, bastard? I dare you to touch her. You better not lay a finger on her. Everyone looked over. Liu Baikan went over angrily. With a pull, he ripped the guy away. Though the guy was a foreigner and was big and tall, Liu Baikan was not much shorter. The foreign guy shouted, who are you? This is my wife. Who do you think I am? The foreign guy paused. Gu Jingyan spoke from where she was at. Hey, we're already divorced. Ex-wife, not your wife. Please be careful when you speak. The foreign guy understood the situation when he heard that. Now I'm the one she chose, not you. Understand? Move aside. If not, don't blame me for being rude. He could say whatever he wanted, and Liu Baikan could not do much. But as he spoke, he went over to hold Gu Jingyan's shoulder. The fire came on immediately. He had been suppressing the fire within these few days. Now that it had exploded, he immediately threw a punch over. You. Men would naturally retaliate if they got hit. With this, Liu Baikan's rage got worse. Hey, Liu Baikan, you. It infuriated Gu Jingyan beyond words. This man. Could there ever be a day where he would not be so immature? This time, the fight caught the attention of the embassy. Since the other party seemed to be quite an important person, the embassy had to ask how their people ended up in the hospital. As for Lu Baikan, he got locked up for hitting the other party first. Soon, Lu Qinyu called anxiously. Jingyan, even if you have to fight, it shouldn't be until he gets locked up. It's embarrassing, get him out first. Lu Qinyu had been nice to her, so she would still listen to him. Without a choice, Gu Jingyan could only go to get him. When Lu Baikan got out, he was still in the clothes he wore prior. Crumpled, looking at Gu Jingyan, he smiled. Hey, wife, I just know that you wouldn't leave me to be. How shameless. I'm not your wife. Also, it's your dad who got me to get you. He said not to ditch you overseas. This Gu Jingyan. However, Lu Baikan was no longer angry. He said right away, I don't care. You're here in any case. Haha, shameless. Gu Jingyan was peeved. With him around, she could say goodbye to having a good rest here. Go home. Gu Jingyan went back to pack her things, preparing to return to C Nation. Lu Baikan followed along. The two of them were no longer hard on each other this time. They sat on the plane and immediately returned to C Nation. But, just as they got off the plane, a call came through when Lu Baikan switched his mobile phone on. Baikan, are you going to the high school reunion? High school, not going. Lu Baikan thought about how busy he was, busy chasing his wife. Who had time for such playthings? However, Gu Jingyan overheard it. She raised her eyebrows and said, oh, is this the class leader? This is Gu Jingyan. Can I ask if Fu Chengxi is going? Oh, Jingyan, Fu Chengxi yes, she's going. Then we'll go too, Gu Jingyan said right away. Lu Baikan knew that Gu Jingyan had something up her sleeves. She just wanted to make something out of nothing for him. Lu Baikan asked, why? What do you want to do? Gu Jingyan scoffed, why, aren't you going? Or you won't dare to go? How can that be? Chapter 1482 Fu Chengxi felt very sad. Not everyone knew that Gu Jingyan and Lu Baikan had split. But Fu Chengxi knew. So, Fu Chengxi was affirmative that Gu Jingyan won't be coming. After all, she had just gotten a divorce and probably would not want to see anyone. However, unexpectedly, her calculations were turned over. Fu Chengxi drove over to the place using the car Lu Baikan bought her, which probably had a value quite high. When she arrived, the people outside looked at her and did not imagine her coming in as she did. She was a follower in the past, and now she was driving a posh car. Even though it had been years since they all last saw each other and that everyone had changed a lot, it was still undeniable that the bond was there. However, those who everyone thought would live an exceptional life in the future seemed to live a rather dull life. On the other hand, those considered as nothing seemed to live a better one. For instance, Fu Chengxi. Everyone pestered her when she arrived, asking her what she was doing and how to earn money. She truthfully said that she did nothing much. Everyone thought that without Lu Baikan, she would have probably married into a not too shabby family. Meanwhile, outside, someone said Gu Jingyan was around the premise. Which was something Fu Chengxi did not expect at all. With Gu Jingyan's entrance, a group of people who knew her started complimenting and greeting her, which made her affluence even more obvious. There was a stark difference compared to other classmates. Back then, nobody knew that Gu Jingyan was the Gu family's fourth young mistress. Later, after she went public with Lu Baikan, everyone then knew that they had such a brilliant classmate. Looking at how she had brought bodyguards along with her, everyone watched in amazement. This is the first time I'm seeing the power of the Gu family. This extravagance can only belong to the Gu family. No doubt it's the Gu family's fourth young mistress. Powerful indeed. Just then, someone noticed that Fu Chengxi's expression looked unnatural. It was just as well. Everyone knew that she had a relationship with Lu Baikan for some time. Now, this was the Gu family's fourth young mistress, and of course, it overshadowed her. Guess it must have infuriated her. But she had no choice. Everyone looked at Fu Chengxi with sympathy. They felt that it was just unfortunate for her to be in that relationship and to meet a love rival who was none other than the Gu family's fourth young mistress. How could Fu Chengxi ignore these eyes? She felt like her heart had shattered into pieces. It was extremely unbearable. And what made her even more upset happened next. After Gu Jingyan had entered, she searched for Fu Chengxi. Chengxi, oh, you're here, too. Everyone turned back to look at Fu Chengxi, as though expecting a good drama coming on. Fu Chengxi held her hands and could only reply, Jingyan, I didn't think you would come. Oh, you're already here, how could I not come? Fu Chengxi's heart paused. It's not just me who's here, Gu Jingyan said as she looked out. Lu Baikan had just parked his car and came in at that moment. Wait for me, Gu Jingyan, Lu Baikan said as he walked in. Soon, he saw the two women standing there, and he stopped at where he was. A show unfolded in front of everyone's eyes, and they all thought that it was going to be exciting. Fu Chengxi gathered her heart quickly. She looked at Lu Baikan and said, Baikan, why are you here? Seeing that Gu Jingyan was still around, Lu Baikan could not be bothered to speak with Fu Chengxi. I'm here for the high school reunion. That's right, you're here, so of course, he'll be here, Gu Jingyan said. This sentence had another meaning. Everyone felt their throats get dry. The ammo was too strong. Lu Baikan immediately said, hey, don't spout nonsense. I came because of you. Fu Chengxi froze. She looked sadly at Lu Baikan. What did he mean? Gu Jingyan frowned. Is that so? I didn't force you to come. I gave you the power to choose, and yet you insisted on coming. At this moment, she said he insisted on coming. Fine, fine, he was afraid. He would not say anything anymore. Yes, yes, yes. But you're here, and so I insisted on coming. I want to protect you. Glancing at Fu Chengxi, Lu Baikan pulled Gu Jingyan in to sit. Fu Chengxi was astonished. What was wrong with Lu Baikan? He seemed to have completely ignored her. She could not believe it and turned her head around to look at Lu Baikan. Baikan, are you guys alright? What was alright? Lu Baikan looked at Fu Chengxi and thought that her sentence at this point was not right. Looking at Fu Chengxi, he said fiercely, good. We're very good. Gu Jingyan noticed Lu Baikan leaning over. She pushed him. Please, leave me farther. It's so warm. I can't do that. I'm your husband. I have to stay close. Everyone looked on and could not help having goosebumps all over their bodies. Hey, are you two here to torture people? Yeah, exactly. Coming here to be lovey-dovey. Haven't you guys been married for long? Why are you guys still so mushy? Lu Baikan, you are Lu Baikan, why are you so henpecked now? Lu Baikan's face darkened. Henpecked. Seeing how Gu Jingyan was high up in her seat, he had better suck it up. If he was henpecked, so be it. What do you guys know? You're just jealous, Lu Baikan said and silently gave into being called henpecked. Everyone soon felt even sourer. Gu Jingyan looked at him in surprise. Why is he so meek? But there was no way she was letting him off that easily. Soon, she smiled again and said, speaking of which, we haven't seen one another for so many years. Don't run away from us the moment you see us, alright? Oh yes, that reminds me back then, Lu Baikan, you were in a relationship with Chengxi for some time. Lu Baikan knew it. His face darkened but also cleared up immediately. Hey, that's old news. I was still young, so it happened. Fu Chengxi felt a stab in her chest. Everyone could tell that Lu Baikan was trying to pacify the situation just to get into Gu Jingyan's good books. Even the mighty Lu Baikan had to curry favor with Gu Jingyan. But it made sense. Gu Jingyan was the young mistress from the Gu family after all. Speaking of which, if any other people married Lu Baikan, they could not have a hold over him. But Gu Jingyan was different. Since they were well matched in family status, Lu Baikan couldn't think about doing anything else. Gu Jingyan could let him die in a million ways. Even if he did not die, she could skin him alive. Gu Jingyan looked at Lu Baikan innocently. Hey, Chengxi is still around. How can you say that? If you didn't take an interest in Chengxi back then, there wouldn't be a memory to look back on. No, for real, back then, I didn't know what feelings were and what was love. Gu Jingyan replied, oh. Lu Baikan said, even if Chengxi is here, I dare say this because this is the truth. I have to be honest with her. I can't lie. Fu Chengxi looked at Gu Jingyan and Lu Baikan in astonishment. What was going on with Lu Baikan? No, some evidence against him must have landed in Gu Jingyan's hands. Chapter 1483 Lin Che and Jinyan are still my children. Lu Baikan chuckled and looked at Gu Jingyan. He just knew that Gu Jingyan would make things difficult for him. But ultimately, he still could only let her do that to him. It was all his fault for putting up a humble stance, anyway. Like what others have said, now that they were divorced, Gu Jingyan was no longer his wife. If she wanted to leave, she would have left long ago. As for him, he did not want to see Gu Jingyan leave at all. It could be because he got used to her, or it could be because he liked her. It was already a blur now. In any case, thinking about Gu Jingyan left his heart empty. He refused to let her leave. Furthermore, he indeed felt rather uncomfortable seeing Fu Chengxi now. It was not because of anything else. The way she looked at him made him feel very uncomfortable. What Gu Jingyan said was right. He was already a married man. How could she still behave like that and express her desire to be with him? He couldn't contain his emotions. But he couldn't make it so obvious in front of Gu Jingyan either. If it was too obvious, it was bound to be useful. He frowned and looked at Fu Chengxi. He felt that he should not keep in contact with her anymore. After all, he had also helped her a lot all these years. Gu Jingyan lifted her hand since she wanted to eat a fruit. But Lu Baikan quickly walked over. Don't move, let me do it, grapes are too moist, what if your hand got wet? Wow. The others already puked all over the ground. Naturally, everyone in the event watched Gu Jingyan with envy. Lu Baikan was so good to her. He even wanted to peel fruits for her. Gu Jingyan looked at him speechlessly. It's not that exaggerated. Of course, it is. It is if I say it is. Don't move, Lu Baikan said bossily. He then took a plate of grapes and carefully peeled them. This man. He was really getting more and more childish. However, Gu Jingyan glanced toward Fu Chengxi's direction and smiled coldly. She left it to Lu Baikan. After that, Lu Baikan did nothing else. He kept his eyes glued on Gu Jingyan. The moment he saw Gu Jingyan try to do anything, he would rush to help her. Everyone was really surprised, for he was the high and mighty Lu Baikan. He was the little tyrant of the capital. He was the playboy of the Lu family and the successor to the Lu family, the high and mighty CEO of Lu Industries. However, Gu Jingyan did not pale in comparison either. The classmates dispersed, and everyone was still in wonder. Lu Baikan changed. He's so considerate to a woman now. I'm so envious of Gu Jingyan. She married such a good husband. Exactly. Unlike that husband of mine, he has no money and doesn't let me do anything. Don't even talk about peeling grapes for me. If I don't feed him, he'd chase after me. Indeed, the richer the man, the nicer he'll be to his wife. Fu Chengxi absorbed all these words, and her eyes fell. She did not believe it. She did not believe it. However, seeing Lu Baikan leave with Gu Jingyan, she simply wanted to follow after them and get to the bottom of things. At night, Gu Jingyan naturally returned to her home. Lu Baikan followed her persistently, but he was shut outside the door. He was so angry that he stood at the door and said, Gu Jingyan, are you going to be so ruthless as to ignore me? Gu Jingyan wanted to be ruthless. She had been too soft-hearted with Lu Baikan in the past. Hence, he bullied her through and through. Now, it was all clear to her. He was no longer her husband. In that case, why did she have to accommodate him? Naturally, she was free to do whatever she pleased. As they saw Lu Baikan wait outside while Gu Jingyan refused to see him, the attendants all felt heartache for them. Lu Baikan had never been through any hardship. He was the young master of the Lu family, born with a golden spoon in his mouth. Because of Gu Jingyan, he had gone through considerable hardship and even humbled himself. But if their young mistress was not willing to, nobody could do anything about it. Lu Baikan looked around. He couldn't possibly wait the entire night either. Oh well, he wasn't in a hurry to go anywhere else either. He felt that he needed to touch Gu Jingyan's heart bit by bit. Otherwise, such an opinionated lady like Gu Jingyan definitely would never be coddled by a few words. However, at this time, something suddenly happened to Lu Qinyu. An attendant from Lu Qinyu's side suddenly called him and said that Lu Qinyu's heart condition went bad. He was in the hospital again. Lu Qinyu was old too. He needed to go to the hospital frequently for checkups. Lu Baikan heard this and quickly headed to the hospital. At the hospital, he saw Lu Qinyu sit there with the doctor still carefully instructing him. It's best if you could get a stent. That would be for the best. Otherwise, your heart will deteriorate further if this goes on. Lu Baikan walked over. Dad. Seeing that Lu Baikan had arrived and seemingly already heard what the doctor said, Lu Qinyu said, it's okay, don't listen to the doctor. He likes to exaggerate. I know my body. I'm fine, I'm just old, and my organs are failing. Sigh. Lu Baikan sighed and said, just get a stent. Listen to the doctor and not just your feelings. If we can cure every illness through our feelings, what are hospitals for? Lu Qinyu patted his hand. Where's Jingyan? Usually, Gu Jingyan would always be the first to know and the first to arrive in this kind of situation. She was even closer to him than this unfilial son of his. Lu Baikan did not dare to mention the divorce. He could only say, she's too tired, so I let her rest at home. Lu Baikan said, Humph, you still don't know how to dote on your wife. But it's true, Jingyan is so strong she would never tell anyone anything. She could be tired or hungry, but she still wouldn't tell anyone. You should be more attentive and take good care of her. Otherwise, if she gets so exhausted that it affects her health, you'll be the one regretting. Lu Baikon's heart felt uncomfortable. It was heavy. He nodded. Lu Qinyu continued, in all my life, I can't educate the way old Gu does. Look at old Gu's children. Each one of them is better than the other. And then look at me sigh, what a failure. What I worry about now is not my health. I just wonder if there'll be a day when little Che will call me dad. As for Jinyan Sai. Needless to say, he hates me so much. I doubt he will ever call me dad in this lifetime. Lu Baikon paused. He was still fond of Lin Che, but as for Mo Jinyan, he couldn't describe how he felt. It was probably because there was some animosity between them, so he couldn't bring himself to get closer to him. But ultimately, that was his brother. Looking at his father now, Lu Baikon felt that he had aged. He was getting on in years. If this wish could not be fulfilled, who knew when this would become his life's regret? Lu Baikon said, Dad, a son like me is not bad either. Although you never had confidence in me, I can tell you I'm no worse off than them. I know. You're very filial and very earnest. You've done a good job with Lu Industries. Except with Jingyan, you have not been a good husband. As for everything else, you have done a good job. Chapter 1484 Black Eagle, he is your father no matter what. Lu Baikon remained silent and only pressed on Lu Qinyu's shoulder. He thought that he needed to find a doctor and looked into dealing with his father's heart condition properly. At night, at Golden Brilliance. When Lu Baikon entered, many people caught sight of the young master on the premises. They all wanted to come and greet him. But the moment he entered, they immediately noticed that dull expression on his face, as if to say that anyone who came close would get a beating. They knew that he was not in a good mood. Knowing how young Master Lu Baikon behaved when he was in a foul mood, they immediately made themselves scarce. Just then, Lu Baikon found a private room to sit in. He then called the server in. Get your boss here. The server looked at Lu Baikon. Young Master Lu, you want to see our manager? Lu Baikon raised his brow. Your manager is the boss. I'm talking about your biggest boss here. The biggest boss. Black Eagle. The server quickly looked at Lu Baikon. Young Master Lu, our director Mo is not around. Don't lie to me. He's here today, I know it. The server looked and said hastily, why don't I go out and look for him? I'll get back to you shortly. The server wanted to leave. However, Lu Baikon grabbed hold of him, trying to run away. The server's face was stunned. It wasn't because he was timid, but it was because Black Eagle had long instructed everyone to say that he was not around if a Lu family member came looking for him. The two families had a history, so he did not want to see Lu Baikon. Why would they dare to spout any nonsense? However, Lu Baikon was no saint. Whoever angered him would not have an easy way out. It was what made the server instinctively want to leave. But this was no place he could escape from. Being held onto, he could only beg for mercy. Young Master Lu, please spare me. I don't know, I'm just a small fry here. Don't put me in a spot. I know that you're a small fry. Tell me where he is, and I'll go look for him myself. Otherwise, I don't care who you are. You. Why, you're afraid that he wouldn't let you off now, but you didn't think about whose hands you're in now. Do you want to wait for him to deal with you, or do you want to die in my hands right now? This was really. He was so anxious that he was going mad. Just then. All right, the high and mighty young Master Lu has come to Golden Brilliance. Excuse me for the lack of proper welcome. Black Eagle walked in with his men. The server, as if begging for amnesty, quickly said to Black Eagle, Director Mo. Director Mo, I said nothing. All right, get out. Stop being such an embarrassment. Black Eagle shot the server a glare. The server left with his tail between his legs. Lu Baikon scoffed and hit his hand. Then, he looked at Black Eagle. I don't need a proper welcome. It's good enough that you're willing to meet me. Mo Jinyan stood there, hands behind his back as he looked at Lu Baikon. What brings you here? Lu Baikon was not here to fight today. He looked at Black Eagle. Black Eagle, I don't care what you think. My dad is your father. He's getting old and can't wait that long for you and Lin Che. You may not want to admit it, but you are the Lu family's flesh and blood. What's the point? In the darkness, Mo Jinyan's eyes revealed a hint of wickedness. That was a sneer at Lu Baikon. Blood ties are blood ties. Relationships are relationships. With relationships, he has nothing to do with me. He is your father, not mine. Watching Black Eagle leave, Lu Baikon said again, do you have to wait until he's gone for good, for you to have regrets? How sure are you that you will never regret it one day? Why won't you try it now? We can cultivate relationships. If you don't see him, how would you know if you don't have any feelings for him at all? What a joke, Black Eagle replied. He never was a part of my life since I was young. In that case, it doesn't matter to him if he has me or not. Tell me, what kind of relationship can there be? Lu Baikan shook his head. No, I always believed that blood ties are fated. It's a kind of heaven's gift. If you want to self-destruct, that is impossible. Mo Jinyan still scoffed as he approached Lu Baikan. A heavy and dark atmosphere filled the room. Mo Jinyan said, get this clear. That is because you were by his side, that's why you think that way. Lu Baikan shook his head again. Let's not talk about him. Let's talk about your daughter. Don't tell me you don't believe in the fate of blood ties. If you don't, why do you love her even though you never saw her when she was little? You didn't even know about her existence. The smile on Mo Jinyan's face fell. He looked at Lu Baikan for some time before saying 2 words. Get lost. Humph. Lu Baikan smiled lightly and said, if it wasn't because blood ties are fated, I never would have stepped here today either. It's best if you think this through yourself. He walked out as everyone continued to look at the two of them. Lu Baikan continued walking until he was outside. He leaned against a wall and took out a cigarette. He naturally wasn't in a good mood. He wondered what Gu Jingze would have done in a time like this. She would stay strong and tell herself that this too shall pass. A life with troubles was real life. If one wanted no troubles, there would be nothing left when one died. Thus, life was about dealing with one trouble after another. Now, he was simply dealing with just one of them. He made his way home. Unexpectedly, he saw Fu Chengxi at his door. Baikan. Seeing Lu Baikan appear lethargic, she rushed to him with a look of concern on her face. Baikan, what's wrong? Lu Baikan frowned. Chengxi, you seem to be very free every day. Fu Chengxi said, my work is more relaxed. Is that so? Yes. You always say that your life is so tragic, but your work is so relaxed, too. Why don't you just get a part-time job? Fu Chengxi was just saying that. At her work, no one bothered about what she did after everyone found out she knew Lu Baikan. That was why she had so much free time. Fu Chengxi said, I thought of that, but I'm quite stupid. Being stupid is not an excuse. If you don't know something, learn. Lu Baikan felt disgusted now. For that moment, he felt that she didn't know how to do anything. Furthermore, she never thought about working hard. She always only claimed that she was very stupid, silly, and naive. Just like when they were in school. She simply said that she couldn't do it when she didn't put in the effort. She was too dependent on others. Lu Baikan only realized now that she seemed to have never done much. Even at work, she did whatever she pleased. He wanted her to live well, but not this way. He couldn't be helping her for her entire life while she didn't have to do anything. Annoyed, he said, all right. If you have time to bother about me, why don't you bother about yourself? You don't have to care about me. I'd still live a better life than you no matter what. Chapter 1485 Black Eagle said, let's get married. Before Fu Chengxi could say anything, Lu Baikan already prepared not to give her a chance. Alright, Chengxi, you know that I'm very busy. I don't have all the time in the world. Since you're so idle, you can find something to do. I'm leaving first. Hey, Baikan. Lu Baikan left and did not look back. Fu Chengxi felt dismal. Unexpectedly, just then. From behind, a car door opened. This luxury car had been there all along, but nobody noticed. There were too many luxury cars around. In the darkness of the night, it was not in clear sight. Now that Lu Baikan had disappeared through the door, the person in the car got off. Fu Chengxi saw that it was Gu Jingze right away. Was she there all along? Watching. Hey, Chengxi. Gu Jingze joined her slender palms together. How was it? Do you now know the taste of being neglected and hated? Fu Chengxi's face changed. You did it on purpose. Gu Jingze smiled. So what if I did? Why, are you going to tell Lu Baikan? Sure, go ahead. I'd like to see who he'll believe in the end. Fu Chengxi thought about the attitude Lu Baikan had towards her, and her face showed more unhappiness. Gu Jingze did not seem to mind. Are you feeling uncomfortable, feeling sad? Are you disheartened that the man you love disregarded you? After getting closer to her, Gu Jingze's voice got even colder. It's alright, you'll be sadder later. She brushed past Fu Chengxi and told her straight away, whatever Lu Baikan gave you, I'll make him take it back one by one. You shall have a taste of things slipping away, one by one, from you. Alright, I won't interrupt you being sad any longer. It's the worst feeling to be alone when you're sad. Take your time to shed your tears. I'm leaving. Leaving just like that. Fu Chengxi felt despair through and through after what Gu Jingze had said to her. She sat on the ground with a heavy heart. It was as though it was hollow, and she had not an ounce of strength left. Gu Jingze thought this was it. She was not one who enjoyed getting involved. However, she had been forced to this point, and she would not let others bully her. Meanwhile, inside, Lu Baikan was still having a tough time with these matters. He did not want to stay at home since Gu Jingyan was no longer around. The place seemed like it had turned extremely empty. After he had pondered, he thought he might as well head over to Lin Che's to look for her. Lin Che was eating at home. Having a break and having nothing to do was a rare chance. Hence, she looked up baking at home. The school teacher had mentioned that a parent baked some items and got the child to share them with his friends at school. Ji Yuxiuan then expressed that she wanted her to do the same. Lin Che was coerced at that moment. However, she could not bear to see Ji Yuxiuan disappointed. Hence, she could only start researching at home. In a short while, Lu Baikan entered. Move aside, why are you all blocking my way? I'm here to look for Lin Che. Lin Che came out without removing her gloves as soon as she heard the voice. Lu Baikan, why did he come here? Lu Baikan came over for a reason. The good thing was that Lin Che had a good impression of him, so she would not be like Black Eagle and chase him off right away. He headed to the sofa and lay on it. Lin Che, let me tell you. If you don't listen to me about this matter, I will not leave your home. Lin Che looked at him curiously. What do you want? Lu Baikan looked at her. You know that your birth father is my father. But you don't want to acknowledge him. He's very upset about it. Lin Che was speechless. She looked at Lu Baikan. What are you doing? She walked over. Why are you bringing this up out of nowhere? Lu Baikan looked like a rogue. In any case, I don't care. He's your father, and you have to acknowledge him. People must respect the truth, and the truth is that he is your father. Lin Che thought that something was amiss with Lu Baikan. He would not suddenly talk about this for no reason. It's no use if you want to go rogue. This is not about a player's home, there won't be acknowledgement just like that. Sigh, you. Just then, Gu Jingze returned. Lin Che, is Lu Baikan here? Lu Baikan looked up. Gu Jingze, you're back just in time. Tell me, you have a father-in-law, and you don't even acknowledge him. Lin Che's still young, so, understandably, she doesn't understand things. But you're already grown up, and yet you don't understand things. Gu Jingze had not expected to encounter a matter like this the moment he got home. Lin Che shrugged, not knowing what was going on. Gu Jingze thought for a while and told Lu Baikan, come, I have something to discuss with you. The two of them went outside. Gu Jingze said, what's wrong with you? Lu Baikan said, what can be wrong with me? I just want Lin Che to acknowledge her family. Tell me, you're already a grown-up. Everyone has already looked past the misunderstanding. Why must it be like this? Gu Jingze patted his shoulder. You have to know one thing. She has always been feeling bad about it in her heart. Moreover, this is a big matter and not a trivial one. Give her some time. Lu Baikan looked outside. He wanted to give them time. But who would give Lu Qinyu time? Lu Baikan did not say any more. He looked at Gu Jingze and said solemnly, Lin Che is still young, and she has many days ahead of her. She has a lot of time. But my father, he's already old. Gu Jingze's eyes moved and looked at Lu Baikan. Lu Baikan did not say any more. When Gu Jingze returned, he saw Lin Che sitting in a daze. Lin Che. Lin Che looked up. Gu Jingze was already slowly making his way over. She found a spot on his body to cozy up. Tell me, am I very cold? How can it be? But I feel like I don't want to go over and acknowledge him as my father that quickly. It's weird. I understand. Moreover, he's a stranger to me. I can't just be acting all familiar with him. We can find a chance to do something next time. You've been apart and away from each other for so long. So, how can you be familiar at all? Okay. Lin Che wanted to say something, but her phone rang. It was Mu Firen. Lin Che. What happened? Lin Che reckoned something had happened upon hearing Mu Firen scream. But Mu Firen said, come and manage your brother. Your brother. Fine. Another brother causing trouble. What is it now? He insists on marrying me. That should have been normal. Was this even an issue that he wanted to marry her? Mu Firen felt like she did not know how to explain it. But she understood that Black Eagle was Union's father. She had a relationship with him in the past. She had not digested the fact for long when Black Eagle suddenly said to get married. Mu Firen went crazy. At that moment, Black Eagle was still locked outside, and he was knocking on the door. Firen, open the door and listen to me. No way, marriage, no way. Alright, no way means no way. As she heard that, Mu Firen wondered. This fellow was so easy to talk to today. Chapter 1486 buy whatever you want. Someone pulled open the door open. Black Hawk immediately pushed the door and walked in. He trapped Mu-Firen against the wall. With his vault black eyes, he leaned down, almost gluing himself to her face. Then let's get engaged first. Black Eagle looked at her. Why, you don't wish to marry me that much? A marriage needed heavenly time and harmony. If she felt that she could marry a person, then she would. It was not a plaything, marrying just like that. Mu-Firen said, Mo Jinyan, we've not reached that degree yet. Though they were always together, they did not even confirm each other as boy and girlfriend, and yet he wanted to get married right away. It was too strange. Black Eagle said, not at that degree. Then what degree? Getting to bed. As he spoke, he was already taking his clothes off. Mu-Firen was speechless. Could he not be that horrifying? She quickly pushed him. Mo Jinyan, can put your clothes back on. Sure, but first, promise me to get engaged. You. Mu-Firen said, I don't wish to. Do you have the intention of forcing me? There was no such intention, but Black Eagle did not know what to do either. In his thoughts, weren't all marriages like this? After getting together for some time, they could get married. He felt that they could get married. But it was only him who felt that way. Why was that? Why did she not want to? Black Eagle could not put a finger to it. It was not just Black Eagle. All his subordinates could not get it as well. They thought of their boss as someone majestic and as stable as a tree whom many people in B City were fighting to get married. Why did Mu-Firen insist on not getting married? They could not understand for sure. Black Eagle's face was tense that day. Everyone looked at their boss and followed around quickly. If it was about chasing women, they had the experience. But they had never come across anyone like Mu-Firen. Everything had been according to her, and yet she still wanted to run. Boss, good women are afraid of pestering men. Don't lose faith. Sooner or later, sister-in-law would agree to the marriage. Black Eagle looked up a little. Others added on, boss, women like romantic stuff, too. The woman in my home is one example. She says it's not good, but deep inside, she's happy. Create some surprise even though there's nothing. Women love that. Black Eagle raised his eyes. Everyone contributed to giving numerous ideas, but none were practical. Black Eagle thought about it and had an idea. Anyway, Mu-Firen would still be his sooner or later. There was no way of escaping. Black Eagle did not pester Mu-Firen at night. Mu-Firen wondered if he was already disappointed in her or if he did not want to talk about this matter, and so he did not bother anymore. The next day, she woke up and still no sight of Black Eagle. She slowly made her way to the studio for the advertisement. Fans were outside, cheering for Mu-Firen. Mu-Firen patiently shook hands with her fans before heading in. The company was pleased when they saw that many people were around because Mu-Firen was filming for an advertisement. Many see her film in the advertisement. It's just that the company had its requirements. This particular company said that it was not good and wanted a retake. Mu-Firen had been in the industry for so many years and naturally understood how it felt. Though tired, she needed to be responsible since she had already signed a contract to be their ambassador. Everyone had a different taste, so while this person may find it acceptable, it wouldn't be enough to satisfy everyone. They took a break in the middle. The manufacturer said, it's been tough on you, Firen. But everyone wants this advertisement to be perfect. Please tough it out in the afternoon and film a couple more. Of course, I know, Mu-Firen thought in her head, continuing filming. But there was no choice. The manufacturer laughed and wanted to say that this money was not gone to waste. Mu-Firen was very pretty in person. However, just then, some people walked in. Hey, what time is it now? What time? And you're not done with filming? The others looked and did not know who these people were. Mu-Firen paused, turned her head, and her face darkened. She knew who that was. It was Black Eagle's right-hand man, Little 8. What the hell? She immediately said, hey, what are you guys doing here? The person beside Mu-Firen had a bad feeling. These people. Black Eagle's men. Gosh, here we go again. Little 8 laughed as he made his way over. Sister-in-law, boss made us come here to pick you up. I'm filming. It's too tiring. Our boss said that advertisements should take nothing more than a morning. It's too taxing on your body. Hey, who are you guys? The rules. The manufacturer was unhappy that he terminated the film right away. Little 8 immediately said, if you think there's a problem, go to Golden Brilliance. What? Look for our boss to protest. Huh. Our boss, Mr. Mo. Look for Black Eagle to protest. Which manufacturer would dare? As they talked, they started packing Mu-Firen's things up. Mu Firen's assistant was very aware that she could not go against Black Eagle. When she walked over, she advised Mu Firen, "Go, Sis Firen." This manufacturer said the shots taken in the morning were very well taken, and yet he still insists on filming. Mr. Mo has good intentions for you. Go, go. Crying without tears. But Mu Firen's assistant was terrified of Black Eagle. Not waiting for what Mu Firen had to say, she already packed her things up. Mu Firen got into the nanny van. In the van, the driver was not from their company. But it had become Little 8. Mu Firen said, "You." Little 8 smiled cheekily, "Our boss wants us to take you to a place." After a while, the van stopped at the door of a jeweler. Mu Firen got out of the van in shock and saw the man sitting inside. He was looking at his mobile phone, sitting on a French-style luxurious chair, highlighting how gentlemanly he seems. On the table beside was some red wine. "Boss, sister-in-law is here." Hearing the voice, Black Eagle looked up and saw Mu Firen. He immediately got up. He said, "Come, Firen. Take a look, which one do you like? I've gotten everyone to leave here to save the inconvenience. There's nobody here now, you can take your time to pick." The shop staff looked, and upon seeing that it was Mu Firen, his eyes sparkled. Previously, they were outraged when Black Eagle came to chase people away. Having chased people away, they did not know if Black Eagle would be making any purchase. Now that Mu Firen was around, they concluded that he had chased people away because Mu Firen was a public figure. He saw Black Eagle take a black card out right away. He told the shop staff, "Take all your best jewels out." The shop staff looked and was elated right away. The pain of having people chased away was cured in an instant. It looked like a significant patron had come. Mu Firen said, "What are you doing? What do I have to buy a jewel for?" "I'm happy to buy jewelry for you." Black Eagle said, "Take your pick. I'll buy whatever you fancy. But I don't need any jewelry." "Do you find jewelry too much? If you don't want it, you can give it to Union as her dowry." The shop staff was in envy. Where to find such a generous man? Chapter 1487. You can't ditch me, Mu Firen. The staff smiled and said, "Usually, we only come across people who complain that this is too expensive or they can't buy that. Sir is so generous. You must be very fond of Miss Mu." Mu Firen blushed and looked up at this man. Fond of her? This man was just used to being bossy. She said, "Can I not want it? I don't think I lack anything." Sure enough, Black Eagle's face darkened as soon as she said that. The staff was afraid that she would not buy anything. The staff quickly recommended some items. "Sir, these are especially good. The texture is good, and it particularly complements Miss Mu's skin tone. See, Miss Mu's skin is so well taken care of. This shade of emerald is best suited for Miss Mu." Hearing the staff compliment Mu Firen, Black Eagle was happy. "Okay, we'll take these." "Hey." Mu Firen looked at him speechlessly. He didn't even ask for her opinion now and straight away bought all these. Mu Firen wondered if she could reject these. When they left the jewelry store, the people behind were carrying large and small bags. Mu Firen wore a piece of jewelry on her hand and one around her neck, which looked very fresh and not so tacky. She didn't want to wear them, but Black Eagle insisted on putting those on for her, so she had no choice but to wear them. She looked up and saw that Black Eagle still wanted to go to another place. She asked, "Where are we going now?" Black Eagle replied, "We're going to eat." As he spoke, he pulled open the door and let Mu Firen in first. Mu Firen walked in. Then he took her to a high-class restaurant. Mu Firen said speechlessly, "Why are we here?" "Yes, I booked the whole restaurant for you. It'll just be the two of us. Nobody will disturb you." He booked the whole place again. Mu Firen said, "You don't have to go through such trouble." Black Eagle looked at her. "You're too popular. You're always surrounded by people wherever you go, and I don't want to see you not having time to yourself at all. That is why I brought you here. It's just the two of us here. Feel free to choose whatever you want to eat." Mu Firen felt touched in that instant. However, looking at Black Eagle's face, she somehow felt it was impossible. It was impossible that he only wanted to do this with pure intentions. A person with the likes of Black Eagle, she knew better. Forget it, forget it. No matter what, he had already booked the restaurant. She had no other choice, right? Inside, the place was incredibly romantic. A violin played in the background, while delicate tablewares sat on the table. Even the menu had a dainty bow on it that it looked like they were specially prepared. But to Black Eagle, they would naturally all do these with just one command from him. She did not mind all these either. This was all his thoughtfulness. Just then, the waiter came over and asked, "Sir, miss, what would you like to order?" Without waiting for Mu Firen to speak, Black Eagle already looked up. Give us your best dishes. Alright, this was very Black Eagle. As the two of them ate, Black Eagle looked at her. Doesn't this feel nice? It does feel nice. So what's the difference between this and being married? She knew it. Mo Jinyan, haven't I told you? It's too fast. Too fast. Black Eagle looked plainly at her and raised his brows. She thought that it was too fast. But they had known each other for a very long time already. However, there had been little progress. They were always busy with their things and not caring about one another. That kind of feeling was very comfortable, so there wasn't much change either. Black Eagle thought of something and said to her, "Come, let's drink some wine." Mu Firen picked up her glass and clinked it against his. Not long after, she felt a little giddy. Black Eagle helped her. "Did you drink a little too much? Let's go home." Mu Firen accepted his touch. With him holding her, it made her feel very safe. The two of them left the restaurant. Black Eagle said to the chauffeur, "We'll go home now." Just as they wanted to say something, Mu Firen's phone rang. It was her agent. "Firen, quick, come and save us." Mu Firen said, "What happened? Talk slowly." "The female lead suddenly resigned from our set. This is our TV drama. President Lin told me to ask if any artist is still available to try it. Otherwise this will immediately be bust. One day is worth 1 million yuan. This kind of emergency happened from time to time. It was all because humans were indecisive most of the time. Who knew what one would suddenly think about and abruptly quit their role?" Mu Firen pondered and said, "All right, I'll go give it a shot. I haven't looked at the script before, is that okay? You're a queen, we trust in your capabilities." That settled it. However, Black Eagle's face was gloomy. She actually agreed straight away without asking for his opinion. What about his romantic plan tonight? He looked at Mu Firen. "You want to go?" Mu Firen nodded. "Of course, why not? You just had alcohol, how are you going to go?" "I'm just going there for an audition. Alcohol probably wouldn't affect my performance. Furthermore, it's an emergency. They wouldn't mind either." Black Eagle was unhappy. "That won't do. You should take a rest, and it's already late." "It's an emergency. I have to go. Furthermore, it's your sister Lin Che's TV show." Hearing that it was Lin Che's, he also deliberated for a while. However, Lin Che should also think about this big brother of hers. Mu Firen said, "All right, I'm leaving. You can hang around." Hey, you. Black Eagle was speechless, but he saw that Mu Firen had already asked the chauffeur to stop. He couldn't say anything else. He frowned and said to the chauffeur, frustrated, "Don't stop. We'll send her to wherever she's going." Every one of the ladies in the family was such workaholics. If he did not let her go, these ladies might accuse him of obstructing their work. Mu Firen smiled as they rushed to the film set. Meanwhile, Lu Baiken was still mulling over how he could convince that old chap Black Eagle to go home obediently and acknowledge his father. But Lu Baiken received news that there was a commotion on Gu Jingyan's side. Gu Jingyan was splitting their assets. They had an agreement before marriage for many of their assets, but nobody bothered about the ones after marriage. As Gu Jingyan split the assets, she discovered that it was after their marriage when Lu Baiken bought Fu Chengxi's house. It meant that she had a share in this property which was purchased after marriage. Using her money to buy things for Fu Chengxi? Impossible. She would definitely want it back. Thus, she sent a letter of complaint to Lu Baiken's lawyer straight away. Lu Baiken's lawyer received a subpoena from the court and was a little embarrassed. This husband and wife didn't seem like they were fighting anymore, and everyone was relieved. Little did they expect that they did stop fighting, but immediately went to court. Lu Baiken was very surprised to receive the subpoena. He looked at the address. It was Fu Chengxi's. He immediately called Gu Jingyan, who picked up the call very quickly. Chapter 1488 Nobody to go through thick and thin with. Gu Jingyan said, "It looks like Mr. Lu already received the court's order. Since it's like this, then let's find some time to talk." Lu Baiken heard her distant greeting and took a deep breath. "Gu Jingyan, do you really want to be like this?" Gu Jingyan said, "What about me? I'm only taking back what should be mine. Is that wrong?" "I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you being so distant with me, do you want it like that?" Gu Jingyan paused before saying, "If not." She scoffed, "We have already broken up." Lu Baiken was silent for a while. "All right, we'll talk in detail when we meet." Gu Jingyan did not want to meet him for fear of bickering again. She really could not be bothered to quarrel with him again. But since she had this presenting problem, it was best to meet him just for a while. The meeting location was at the coffee house, downstairs from the company. When Gu Jingze arrived, Lu Baikan was already there. Somehow, Lu Baikan looked like he had lost weight. His originally prominent and sharp face looked slimmer. But, should she feel sad for him? She knew that Lu Baikan did not have it good these days since Lu Qinyu's health was deteriorating by the day. Everyone would come to face age and death one day. When one was younger, one would welcome life after life. But as one slowly grow older, it would also send off life after life. Very sorrowful. She sighed and sat down. She was firm on not quarreling with him today, so she would only be discussing the matter on hand. I'm here. Lu Baikan looked at her. Both of his hands were beside his mouth and elbows on his knees. He only moved his eyes to look up at her. Jingyan, you still want to split assets? Yes, Gu Jingyan replied. Isn't a divorce like this? Neither of them had thought about it. The assets that they had before marriage were out of the picture. They were assets of their respective families, and they had already signed an agreement for those. But after getting married, both did not care about money issues, and neither bothered about it. Now that the situation was dire, they lumped all assets together. Actually, if they wanted to split, they had to hand it to a lawyer's office, which would require quite some time. But he was not willing to. Divorce was not a very big issue for him. But at the mention of splitting assets, it felt like it would ultimately cut the last string holding them together. His heart tore piece by piece. Lu Baikan said, but this house. If I'm not wrong, you bought it after our marriage. You bought it for her. This house's deed might be under her name, but the deductions were made from the company's account. This was a gift, all right, but you didn't seek my approval. Now, I'm going to tell the court that you secretly transferred the funds. I want it back. Shouldn't be a problem, right? Lu Baikan frowned. Why must you insist on this house? Gu Jingyan scoffed. Why don't you think about why? Gu Jingyan smiled coldly, her eyes filled with sadness and ridicule. Her original beautiful and big eyes were only of sadness and disappointment. You used the money we worked so hard to buy a house for another woman. How do you think I feel? Can you answer to all the nights I've burnt all these years and all the tough mornings I had? We've had sleepless nights and skipped meals for days just for the company and the enterprise. Do you still remember? Just for one program, we planned for a week and slept in the meeting room every day. We would just grab a bite in the morning and then get back to the details. Do you still remember? Still remember. Yes, they had once worked that hard together. Thinking about it, why were his eyes getting wet? He never thought about all these previously, but now, thinking about it. No other woman would be with him, from having nothing to having all the riches. In the past, there were only descendants of the rich, with not many achievements and nothing worth being proud of. It was them being together, and in all these years, they created an empire that belonged to them. Now, he already had everything. But if he lost Gu Jingyan, there would be no other woman in the world who would go through thick and thin with him. His heart hurt a lot. It was unbearable. He looked at Gu Jingyan and almost choked. I didn't think about it before. Then start thinking about it now. Think about what Fu Chengxi had contributed. Based on what? She did nothing at all. Just a few drops of tears and she can get a house worth 10 million. That family of rotten worms can then live peacefully in the house bought with my money and live a life that people would envy. Lu Baikan bit his lips. So, I'm taking the house back. Lu Baikan paused before he got up. Alright, we'll go your way. Gu Jingyan was shocked. She did not think he would say as such. He stood up. You're right, I didn't ask you about this back then. It's yours, indeed, but this process has to be done. If not, I can't ask it back. It was my gift, and it's theirs. He walked out after getting up. One could tell he was feeling very low in spirits. Gu Jingyan unknowingly suppressed her feelings. She closed her eyes and thought, why did she need to get upset over him? But, he was, after all, the husband she shared a bed with for years and the father of her child. As she thought, little Apple called. Mommy, didn't you say that you would accompany me to the underwater world? Oh, Mommy will return right away. Thinking about Apple, her face warmed up. All these years of hard work, but the good thing was she still had adorable little Apple. She took a deep breath in and stood up from her seat. Meanwhile, Black Eagle was home looking after Union as Mufirin went to the drama team. It seemed like he was taking care of Union for the entire day. Though there was a helper, he did not want any help. In any case, she would usually attend school. It was only the weekends and holidays that he wanted to accompany her. If he had matters to deal with at the company, he would take her to the company. If there were nothing on, he would look after her. Union looked at him. What happened to you, uncle? Black Eagle said, Union, tell me. Is it not a good thing if I marry your mommy? In this way, you can call me daddy. Union said, oh, really? Of course, it's a good thing. Black Eagle said, but the main thing now is. He walked to Union's side, carried her, and said, your mommy doesn't agree to it. What should I do? Ah, why does mommy not agree? This. Union said thoughtfully, Uncle, Brother Nianian has said it. Marrying a girl is a big matter, you can't just agree to it because it's very important. It's a matter for life. So there must be serious consideration. My mommy disagrees because uncle, you still haven't passed. She was mommy's little outer jacket. Chapter 1489 Black Eagle thought what Union said was right. Looking at Union. She was a girl, after all. Black Eagle sighed and wondered if it was not enough. The only thing was, he was not a person who knew how to be in a relationship. Just then, Mu Firen had already gone to the drama team. Amongst the team, a few directors immediately came out to welcome Mu Firen when she arrived. Firen, it's good that you're here. I was wondering what we should do now. Mu Firen said, how did this happen? Ah, don't talk about it. Everything was going well at first, and we had no contradictions. Then she suddenly accepted a big Hollywood project and immediately left. We have no other choice. After all, she wants to develop. And we can't say that she has no work ethics. She already said she'd pay the penalty for going back on the contract. Hence, she won't be filming anymore. Sigh. Mu Firen looked. This TV drama was a fantasy-themed TV drama series. It looked like the future would be pretty good. But the previous actress did not want this and wanted to go to Hollywood. But the fact was, everyone had different goals. Some thought that doing a movie was better than a TV drama and would never touch a TV drama over their dead bodies. There was no way about it. Mu Firen said, then am I suitable? Have a look, director. The director said, suitable, suitable. Your acting skills and image are all suitable. I'm only afraid I'm too old. Forget it, people would still believe it if you said you were 20 years old. How are you old? The director laughed heartily and invited her in. Inside was a woman slouched at a side with her arms folded across her chest. Her eyes showed unwillingness. Mu Firen seemed to have noticed. It was a new face whom she had seen a few times. But there were all occurrences of passing by each other. They were not from the same company and did not have any collaborations, so they naturally did not know each other. Now that Lin Che's company was collaborating with many other companies, numerous TV drama series would use artists from other companies, just to prevent the audience from always seeing the same few faces and being sick of them. Mu Firen remembered her name. She was Zhou Tong. She only looked for a second and did not care. Seeing that Mu Firen had left, many artists came to spectate. It looked like the female lead is going to be Mu Firen. That's for sure. Look who she is, she's a queen. Gosh, does being a queen means being brilliant? Zhou Tong scoffed. Others looked at Zhou Tong and smiled. Some had the intention to watch the drama unfold and gossip since there was no responsibility anyway. Wasn't it said that if it didn't work out, then you, Sister Tongtong, would take over the female lead? Oh, yes, we also thought that it was impossible to find anyone to save the situation in such a short time. Who knew that the queen would be available? Zhou Tong knew what they had in their minds and would not allow anyone to spill any nonsense. She's a queen who has been famous for so many years. I have to step back, of course. I've only been around the scene for a few years. What she meant with her words was that she was still young and had plenty of chances in the future. It was like she gave up the seat to the queen. A few of them added more coal to the fire and said, that's right. The queen is still so idle. I think she doesn't have many projects anymore. So she rushed down for this. Zhou Tong scoffed, still feeling unhappy. However, Mu Firen had a good relationship with Lin Che, and this was a project under Lin Che's company. Zhou Tong knew that she might not be able to take it away from her. She had not played a leading female role before and thought that this could be her chance. She felt extremely frustrated. Just then, over at another side, the directors decided to include Mu Firen in the production. The next day, it was to get familiar with the set. Mu Firen was going to be busy. Black Eagle was very speechless. This was really treating his proposal as invisible air. Black Eagle called Mu Firen. Mu Firen said, nothing much. I'm staying here for a while, and I need to go through the script first. I'm not very familiar with it. Alright, I'll look after Union. Don't worry. Ah, I'll find the time to go home. Then, how's the production team like? Where are you sleeping at? Where does the production team go? It's just a hotel. They arranged a hotel for me in advance. Mine was supposed to be a penthouse, but it's so eye-catching. I thought it was best not to be so attention-seeking. So I requested for a random room. What do you mean by a random room? Black Eagle frowned. Alright, don't bother about me, let me go through my script. Hey. Black Eagle heard her hang up the phone and looked listlessly. He pondered and then got up immediately. Hey boss, where are you going? I have to go to the production team to take a look. What place she's staying at, that's not too attention-seeking. If she's not comfortable, how is she going to film properly? His subordinates looked at him in silence as he ran out. He might as well have said that he wanted to see their sister-in-law. At the production team, Mu Firen was still looking at her script when she heard a voice outside. She froze. She had a bad feeling. This feeling was a little familiar. When she went to open the door, indeed, Black Eagle's man was standing outside with supper. Wow, there's supper, great. Who sent this? Sister Firen bought this for everyone. Wow, you're so awesome, Sister Firen. You only just got here, and you're giving us welfare. Haha, I heard it's Firen's boyfriend who sent this. Mu Firen headed out and saw the commotion outside. The assistant came over just as soon as she ran out. Looking at Mu Firen speechlessly, the assistant said, Sister Firen. How could she not know even if outsiders did not know? It must be Black Eagle, the chief, who again took action first. As predicted, Mu Firen came out to look for Black Eagle with a dark face. Where is Mo Jinyan? She pulled Black Eagle's man and asked. Sister-in-law chief is outside. Look. Mu Firen went out and saw Black Eagle standing there observing the hotel that the production team was at. He frowned and said, it's a little shabby here. Mu Firen replied, why have you come running over again? Black Eagle said, how can you stay in a hotel like this? It's too tattered. Chief, this is the closest to the film and television city. Any better would mean being within the city. Driving an hour to the city to film every day, am I crazy? Black Eagle said, not good. This hotel is too run down. Mu Firen noticed that people started to look at them with curiosity. She quickly pulled him to walk away. Alright, let's talk outside. The people inside were already questioning. Is Mr. Mo really Sister Firen's boyfriend? The whole world knows that Mu Firen's support is Mo Jinyan. They just didn't go public. Really? Apparently, Mo Jinyan is also Lin Che's eldest brother, although it is unknown how he is her brother. This relationship web is too awesome. I have to say, birds of a feather flock together. A group of people would more or less be the same. Look at them being all together. Doesn't it look like their entire family is getting better and better? Lin Che and Mu Firen's men are both so capable. Zhou Tong was listening carefully. She frowned. Mo Jinyan. He seemed like a compelling person. By then, Mu Firen had already pulled Black Eagle out. It's your sister's funds. She allocated most of it for the production, and if the actors over here can help to save, then the end product would be good as well. Why, don't you want to support your sister? Chapter 1490. Everyone deemed Gu Jingze as the mistress. When Black Eagle heard Lin Che's name again, he was not happy. Haha, her husband has all the money, and yet she's still so stingy. Doing a business and having money at home are different things. Would you still have the power if you filmed a TV drama and can't get back a single cent when it dies off? Black Eagle did not want to think about other matters by this point. His only concern was the place that Mu Firen was staying at was too shabby. Mu Firen guessed that everyone had more or less finished eating. She then told Black Eagle, shouldn't you leave if there's nothing else already? Black Eagle looked at her. No. Why? I've decided to stay here. Black Eagle was already heading in with a swagger. He added on, although shabby, I've decided I should still have a room. Hey, what are you staying here for? Black Eagle turned his head and said, yesterday, Yun said that I'm not doing enough. So that's why you disagreed with my proposal. I think what she said made sense. Union, this girl who put her mother in a spot. Black Eagle said, so I've decided that I'm going to stay here to accompany you. That's not necessary, seriously. Enough, I've already gotten someone to get my room. Oh yes, what do you want to eat at night? I'll get it prepared. Despair was on Mu Firen's face. She just knew that there was nothing good when Black Eagle arrived. When she went in, everyone continued thanking Mu Firen. They also said in envy, Sister Firen, President Mo is too nice. He even came all the way here to visit. You're so lucky, Sister Firen. Mu Firen thought, you guys try, and you'll know how horrific it is. Of course, though, he had the heart. But he always put in all the effort, making one feel afraid. She looked silently in Black Eagle's direction and went up with a sigh. At the same time, Gu Jingze sped up. The court was going to investigate the truth very soon. The judge arrived just as Fu Chengxi and her family were having their meal. Father Fu opened the door and asked, "What do you want?" "We're here to investigate. Is Fu Chengxi here?" The whole family turned pale while looking at the judge. Not long after, the neighbors had noticed that a judge arrived in the area. Soon, countless speculations were made. What happened to their daughter? I don't know. It looks like there's a problem with the origin of the house. Could it be that their family's involved in some dirty business? No way. Their family is not doing any business. They're home every day, and I've never seen anyone head out to do anything. At most, if not mahjong, then a stroll. Who has so much time if there was business to do? Then what are they doing? I heard that their daughter is someone's mistress, and their house was a gift. Oh, gosh, how cheap. The people outside looked at the family of three with contempt and disgust. The people living in this area were all wealthy, and they very much hated mistresses. Seeing how dirty looks were thrown at her in an instant, inferiority bubbled up inside Fu Chengxi. What exactly was this about? Why were they looking at her like that? It was as though she had sinned. She had done nothing. The Fu family was still worried about the house. Gu Jingze, this bitch, oh man, this house is clearly under our Chengxi's name. How can its origin be improper? You guys can't be like this. The judge asked, "Where did you get 10 million yuan? Your family of three don't even have a job. I've checked the house list. The money used to buy this house is from Lu Industries. That also means it's our house." Now the other party said that this house was bought with her money. She didn't even know and suspects this is a scam. I. Also, you are suspected of transferring assets. Oh my, how can it be? Since you know that Gu Jingze has the money, you have the guts to accuse us this way. You can't do this. Just because you can see that they have money, doesn't mean you have to be afraid of them and bully us common folks. The judge could not be bothered to listen to her. They said they wanted to seal off this place immediately and gave them a time limit to move out. Father Fu quickly said to Fu Chengxi, "Quick, think of something. This good house." Fu Chengxi looked at how the people outside seemed to be staring at her. Those eyes of theirs made her feel like she was stripped bare. "We're not moving. We can't move. We've stayed here for so long. This is our home. Based on what grounds are we forced to move?" When Fu Chengxi got pulled and tugged, she felt like dying. "Quickly beg Lu Baikan. He gave this house as a gift to you." Lu Baikan. Oh yes, did Lu Baikan know about this? Fu Chengxi pushed through her parents and went in to call Lu Baikan. The phone rang, and Lu Baikan picked up. "Jingyan, what is up with her? Is she seeking revenge? Are you aware? I don't know why Jingyan got upset that she called the judge to come over and seal off my house." Lu Baikan listened to the voice but was silent. "Baikan, are you listening?" "I'm listening," Lu Baikan said. "I already know." "You, what do you mean you already know?" "Meaning is," Lu Baikan casually said, "I bought that house without her consent. Hence, she has the right to get it back." Fu Chengxi's phone slipped through her hands and dropped to the floor. A patter was heard. What did Lu Baikan say? As if he didn't hear her, Lu Baikan only said, "All right, I'm hanging up if there's nothing else." Lu Baikan hung up, and Fu Chengxi immediately dropped and sat on the floor. She looked at her parents still arguing with the judge and then at the surrounding people who came to spectate. Gu Jingze, it must be Gu Jingze. It was her doing. That day, she said. She wanted to get everything back, she was not joking. Fu Chengxi's heart filled with resentment. It was so unbearable, but what should she do? What could she do? No, she had to look for Gu Jingze. She had to look for Lu Baikan. She had loved Lu Baikan for so long. He couldn't just abandon her like this. In the office, Gu Jingze heard from the person on the phone that the house had been taken back. She nodded her head lightly and did not bother about it again. However, just then, Fu Chengxi's shouts and curses rang from outside. This was Lu Industries. Gu Jingze was still working at Lu Industries because she was still a shareholder of the company, and she still had a position and dividends here. Though divorced, she was still tied to Lu Baikan's career. However, since Lu Baikan had not been coming to work recently, they did not cross paths in the office. As for Fu Chengxi, it was presumed that she had visited the company before. So the people outside all knew her. She called out, "I want to see Lu Baikan." "Miss Fu, President Lu isn't around." "Don't lie to me, it's impossible. President Lu hasn't been coming in for a few days." The person outside looked at Fu Chengxi with disgust. Come looking for a married man for nothing. And this was President Lu's ex-girlfriend. This matter of an ex-girlfriend brought disgust to people. Especially when it was someone like Gu Jingze, from merely being the ex to the mistress. In the past, Gu Jingze did not care about the disgust that people had with her. As long as she could see Lu Baikan, she did not care about anything else. But now, her heart really hurt. What did she do wrong? Why was she a mistress in everyone's eyes? It was Gu Jingyan who was the third party.